My only function is the one God gave me. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one. My only function is the one God gave me. I want no other and I have no other. I want no other and I have no other. My happiness and my function are one. God gives me only happiness. God gives me only happiness. He has given my function to me. He has given my function to me. Therefore my function must be happiness. Therefore my function must be happiness. My happiness and my function are one, because God has given me both. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one, My only function is the one God gave me. I want no other and I have no other. My happiness and my function are one. This is our review of lessons 65 and 66. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one. Today, let us review these ideas. My only function is the one God gave me. And I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, here on Saturday, March the 23rd of 2024. Lesson 83 from the Foundation for Inner Peace publication, A Course in Miracles. I have no function but the one God gave me, is the very first sentence. I have no function but the one God gave me. Under my only function is the one God gave me. I have no function but the one God gave me. This recognition releases me from all conflict, because it means I cannot have conflicting goals. With one purpose only, I am always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. How simple is salvation? All doubt must disappear as I acknowledge that my only function is the one God gave me. And you'll know your function, that one that makes you peaceful, makes you joyful, the one that you can enter into the quiet, the silence, and be joyful, be alert, be peaceful. More specific applications of this idea might take these forms. So if you're tempted, the first one, it's my perception of this does not change my function. So think of yourself, you're on your way to an event that's really, in your mind, an important event to be at, and you have a flat tire. And you get out and you notice the tire's flat and your first word's a cuss word. Well, we're going to learn that our first word can be, my perception of this does not change my function. And you can kind of, or you might say, this does not give me a function other than the one God gave me. My function is to be joyful, to be the light of the world. And how do we do that? By the practice of forgiveness. Forgive the situation. Let it go. Say, well, everything's under God's control. Must be something wonderful in this. Let me not use this to justify a function God did not give me. So don't use it to say, oh, I'm going to be all upset and irritated until I get to that event that I was supposed to be at here in 10 minutes. And now I've got to change a tire. I'm probably not going to make it on time. But instead you can say, let me not use this to justify a function God did not give me. And then that'd be for your morning review. And in the afternoon, you can be saying, my happiness and my function are one. Try to say it, for sure say it whenever you have a loss of peace or one of the associated ideas or an idea similar. These are just used for examples. You don't have to memorize the italicized portions. They're not made to be repeated verbatim. They're just ideas that kind of reword the affirmation, my happiness and my function are one. All things that come from God are one. They come from oneness and they must be received as one. Fulfilling my function is my happiness because both come from the same source. My happiness and my function come from God. And I must learn to recognize what makes me happy. If I would find happiness, you're going to have to find out what makes you happy if you're going to find it. And it's going to be abiding in God's Spirit. Stepping back and letting Him lead the way, happily. Some useful forms for specific application of this idea. This cannot separate my happiness from me. We'll use the same little illustration if we had a flat tire and we're noticing it, and we're in a time crunch. Say, this cannot separate my happiness from my function. Or you might say, the oneness of my happiness and my function remains wholly unaffected by this flat tire. Or the last example that he includes is, nothing including this can justify the illusion of happiness apart from my function. So if you're, that might be a good one to use if you you're tempted to do something that is not the Spirit's leading, but you get some kind of pleasure out of it. But you have to be maybe either dishonest or cunning or somehow crafty in order to get it. A magic principle rather than a miracle principle. Okay, well, let's go take a look in our text reading. My only function is the one God gave me, and my happiness and my function are one. And in our text reading, we're under chapter 10, the idols of sickness. We're ready for section 3, the God of sickness. And while you're turning there, under from holidaysandobservances.com, it's Be Mad Day. We're just, hopefully we've gone beyond needing a day to be mad. Black Marriage Day, Cuddly Kitten Day, Endometriosis March Day, National Chia Day, National Chip and Dip Day, National Melba Toast Day, National Organize Your Home Office, National Puppy Day, National Tamale Day, Near Miss Day, and did you know that was based on a 1989 asteroid named 451 Asclepius, and it was 300 meters wide, and it just missed planet Earth by about 6 hours. Anyway, if it had hit the Earth 300 meters, that would, 3 football fields long, basically. It says it would have been like 1,000 atomic bombs going off. Okay Day, and we're all okay, always, because we're the way God created us. Ravenclaw Pride Day, another Harry Potter home, and known for its intelligence, creativity, and wit. Take Your Parents to the Playground Day. Walk in the Sand Day, and World Meteorological Day. And out of our edible landscaping, let's talk about another berry, and it's a rubus idaeus, and it is the Heritage Fall Raspberry. Heritage is the most popular ever-bearing variety with excellent red fruit, and you can usually find Heritage at most of your outlet stores that sell plants in the spring. Can be cultivated for spring and fall crops, especially in the north. Needs no staking. If mowed to the ground early each spring, Heritage will bear a large crop from new growth from August to late fall in Virginia. Spaced 3 foot apart in beds of good garden soil. zones 3 through 9. And then in Permaculture for Beginners by Carrie Mitchell, we're still in Chapter 5, Plant Placement. And this paragraph was Access and Desire Lines. Paths made by people and animals will affect your zones. So you remember your closer zone is 0 or 1, and then as you get further out, less maintenance involved. It'd be your higher zones. Well, use these paths and put high maintenance plants near their daily walking paths. Roads and drives rarely walked should not be on zone 1. Consider things like duck routes from the duck house to a pond as a path affecting your zones. Think about where you walk and what needs done on a daily basis for plant and animal care. Basically, build your whole life around the obvious, being, the things you need to do a lot, have it close by. Okay, let's take a look at the God of sickness. You have not attacked God, and you do love him. Can you change your reality? No one can will to destroy himself. When you think you are attacking yourself, it is a sure sign that you hate what you think you are. And this and only this can be attacked by you. What you think you are can be very hateful, and what this strange image makes you do can be very destructive. Yet the destruction is no more real than the image, although those who make idols do worship them. The idols are nothing, but their worshipers are the sons of God in sickness. God would have them released from their sickness and returned to his mind. He will not limit your power to help them because he has given it to you. Do not be afraid of it because it is your salvation. 2. What comforter can there be for the sick children of God except his power through you? Remember, you're the light of the world. My function is the one God gave me, our lesson today. And my happiness and my function are one because why? Because that's what brings peace to every mind through our forgiveness. What comforter can there be for the sick children of God except his power through you? Remember that it does not matter where in the sonship he is accepted. He is always accepted for all, and when your mind receives him, the remembrance of him awakens throughout the sonship. Heal your brothers simply by accepting God for them. Heal your brothers simply by accepting God for them. Your minds are not separate, and God has only one channel for healing because he has but one Son. God's remaining communication link with all his children joins them together and them to him. To be aware of this is to heal them, because it is the awareness that no one is separate, and so no one is sick. To be aware of this is to heal them, because it is the awareness that no one is separate, and so no one is sick. Paragraph 3. To believe that a son of God can be sick is to believe that part of God can suffer. Love cannot suffer because it cannot attack. The remembrance of love, therefore, brings invulnerability with it. Do not side with sickness in the presence of a son of God, even if he believes in the sickness, for your acceptance of God in him acknowledges the love of God he has forgotten. Wow, you have a good work to do. Your recognition of him as part of God reminds him of the truth about himself, which he is denying. Would you strengthen his denial of God and thus lose sight of yourself? Or would you remind him of his wholeness and remember your Creator with him? 4. To believe a son of God is sick is to worship the same idol he does. God created love, not idolatry. All forms of idolatry are caricatures of creation, taught by sick minds too divided to know that creation shares power and never usurps it. Sickness is idolatry, because it is the belief that power can be taken from you. Yet this is impossible, because you are part of God, who is all power. A sick God must be an idol, made in the image of what its maker thinks he is. And that is exactly what the ego does perceive in a son of God, a sick God. self-created, self-sufficient, very vicious, and very vulnerable. Is this the idol you would worship? If this the image you would be vigilant to save? Is this the image you would be vigilant to save? Are you really afraid of losing this? Look calmly at the logical conclusion of the ego's thought system and judge whether its offering is really what you want, for this is what it offers you. To obtain this, you are willing to attack the divinity of your brothers and thus lose sight of your divinity. And you are willing to keep it hidden, to protect an idol you think will save you from the dangers for which it stands, but which do not exist. 6. There is no idolaters in the kingdom, but there is great appreciation for everything that God created because of the calm knowledge that each one is part of Him. We're all part of God. Calm knowledge. God's Son knows no idols, but He does know His Father. Health in this world is the counterpart of value in heaven. It is not my merit that I contribute to you, but my love, for you do not value yourself. When you do not value yourself, you become sick, but my value of you can heal you, because the value of God's Son is one. When I said, my peace I give unto you, I meant it. And that's, Jesus said that in, recorded in John chapter 14, verse 27. When I said, my peace I give unto you, I meant it. Peace comes from God through me. It is for you, although you may not ask for it. 7. When a brother is sick, it is because he is not asking for peace, and therefore does not know he has it. The acceptance of peace is the denial of illusions, or illusion, and sickness is an illusion. The acceptance of peace is the denial of illusion, and sickness is an illusion. Yet every son of God has the power to deny illusions anywhere in the kingdom, merely by denying them completely in himself. I can heal you because I know you. I know your value for you, and it is this value that makes you whole. A whole mind is not idolatrous and does not know of conflicting laws. I will heal you merely because I have only one message, and it is true. Your faith in it will make you whole when you have faith in me. 8. I do not bring God's message with deception, and you will learn this as you learn that you always receive as much as you accept. You could accept peace now for everyone and offer them perfect freedom from all illusions because you heard His voice. But have no other gods before Him, or you will not hear. God is not jealous of the gods you make, but you are. You would save them and serve them because you believe that they made you. You think they are your father because you are projecting onto them the fearful fact that you made them to replace God. Yet when they seem to speak to you, remember that nothing can replace God, and whatever replacements you have attempted are nothing. 9. Very simply then, you may believe you are afraid of nothingness, but you're really afraid of nothing. Very simply then, you may believe you are afraid of nothingness, but you're really afraid of nothing. And in that awareness, you are healed. You will hear the God you listen to. You made the God of sickness, and by making Him, you made yourself able to hear Him. Yet you did not create Him, because He is not the will of the Father. He is therefore not eternal, and will be unmade for you the instant you signify your willingness to accept only the eternal. 10. If God has but one Son, there is but one God. You share reality with Him because reality is not divided. To accept other gods before Him is to place other images before yourself. You do not realize how much you listen to your gods and how vigilant you are on their behalf. Yet they exist only because you honor them. Place honor where it is due, and peace will be yours. It is your inheritance from your real Father. You cannot make your Father, and the Father you made did not make you. Honor is not due to illusions, for to honor them is to honor nothing. Yet fear is not due them either, for nothing cannot be fearful. For nothing cannot be fearful. You have chosen to fear love because of its perfect harmlessness. And because of this fear, you have been willing to give up your own perfect helpfulness and your own perfect help. Now that's a important idea that he'll develop. You have chosen to fear love because of its perfect harmlessness. And because of this fear, you have been willing to give up your own perfect helpfulness and your own perfect help. In the last paragraph, 11, only at the altar of God will you find peace. And this altar is in you because God put it there. Only at the altar of God will you find peace. And this altar is in you because God put it there. His voice still calls you to return, and He will be heard when you place no other gods before Him. You can give up the god of sickness for your brothers. In fact, you would have to do so if you give him up for yourself. For if you see the god of sickness anywhere, you have accepted him. And if you accept him, you will bow down and worship him, because he was made as God's replacement. He is the belief that you can choose which God is real. Although it is clear this has nothing to do with reality, it is equally clear that it has everything to do with reality as you perceive it. Okay, wow. Well, let's go look in our lesson again, and then we'll close with our song, but let's just take a minute and go through it. Today, let us review these ideas. My only function is the one God gave me. I have no function but the one God gave me. This recognition releases me from all conflict because it means I cannot have conflicting goals. With one purpose only, I'm always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. All doubt must disappear as I acknowledge that my only function is the one God gave me. More specific applications of this idea might take these forms. My perception of this does not change my function. This does not give me a function other than the one God gave me. Let me not use this to justify a function God did not give me. And then Lesson 66 review, my happiness and my function are one. All things that come from God are one. They come from oneness and they must be received as one. Fulfilling my function is my happiness because both come from the same source. Your function and your happiness both come from God. And I must learn to recognize what makes me happy. If I would find happiness, get in your way, through a temper tantrum might seem to make you happy, but I think that'd be more the idea of nothing including this can justify the illusion of happiness apart from my function. That's one of the things you could say in some useful forms for specific application of this idea. So if you're feeling a little disconcerted and you think you need to change someone in order to be happy, tell yourself, nothing including this can justify the illusion of happiness apart from my function. Or you might say, this cannot separate my happiness from my function. Or you might say, the oneness of my happiness and my function remains wholly unaffected by this trial I'm experiencing. An opportunity to practice forgiveness. Okay, well, thank you all so much for letting me join you in your living room or wherever you are listening today, hopefully with your family. I try to make this to where teenagers and even younger children will get something out of it. At least they'll be exposed to these ideas, huh? My only function is the one God gave me. I want no other and I have no other. I want no other and I have no other. function are one. Are one. God gives me only happiness. God gives me only happiness. He has given my function to me. He has given my function to me. Therefore my function must be happiness. Therefore my function must be happiness. My happiness and my function are one, because God has given me both. My happiness and my function are one, because God has given me both. My only function is the one God gave me. I want no other and I have no other. I want no other and I have no other. My happiness and my function are one. Are one. God gives me only happiness. God gives me only happiness. He has given my function to me. He has given my function to me. Therefore my function must be happiness. Therefore my function must be happiness. My happiness and my function are one, because God has given me both. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one. Are one. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one. Are one. You know, if you do have your kids, if you're sitting around, you're using this for like a little devotion, which is what I intended it to be. A little time where you can sit and just kind of recenter with some thoughts about God, and then go into a quiet time. If you're doing that with your family, thank you. I would like to encourage you to, have some crayons for the younger kids to be able to be doing something that's kind of fun. You'd be surprised. Tell them there's just anything they hear, just draw a picture about it. That'll kind of help them, help you. You don't want to force anybody to listen to this, but as parents, we have a responsibility to point our children in the right direction. Now, I think this is a really good direction to point anyone in. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one. And let's use English for peace. Peace be with you. Thank you so much for joining me. My only function is the one God gave me. My happiness and my function are one. Peace.